All right, so just before I get on him, now that he's had a little bit of a break, I just want to trot in each direction with those stirrups down so they're used to kind of banging on his side. Ultimately, what I would do is I'd put him in a round yard. I'd unclip him and I'd lunge him in each direction. I don't have a round yard that I'm able to use right now, so this is the next best thing. But I just want to have some trot, because if he accidentally spooks or hops into trot while I'm on his back, I want to have set myself up for success. Good, yield the hindquarters, safety stop, well done, nicely done. Good. Trot on. Good, yield the hindquarter, speed it up. Good job. Good boy. Good man. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie up the reins, and I start them in a halter because I just feel like it's one less thing for them to have to worry about. They're not trapped into a bit or anything, and they're not having to panic about it. And we've always started our horses in halters and had really beautiful results. They're so light and good off it, and you actually have really good brakes. And I usually start them bareback too, because again it's one less thing to worry about. They're not having to think about a saddle on their back. They're used to a rider touching them all over, and I just feel like it creates a much happier sort of result. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, one, drop his girth, and then two, I'm just going to gently jump up and down on the stirrups. And each time I'm just going to drag the weight over. Wait till he relaxes. Good boy. And then because of his body language and the fact that he's pretty relaxed, I'm going to come over. Now I feel like I could come up and over that quickly because again there's not one part of his energy that's telling me that he's worried. So if, let's say, as I jumped up I felt him shift away or freeze up in his body language, I would have very different responses to what I'm doing. However, because he's so relaxed, I can keep pushing forward and know that I'm in a pretty safe situation. So if you didn't understand the fight, flight and freeze responses on a horse, you could get yourself in serious trouble. And the whole point of these video series is not so much to encourage other people to break in their horses, because it is a professional's job and it should be done well. If it's not done well, you can really screw up the horse for life. But to show you a different way of doing it, that they don't have to have their legs tied up and they don't have to be lunged for 2 hours until they're dripping in sweat before you can climb on their backs. That if you teach them the basics and the fundamentals, you can have a really nice experience. Whoa! So that's not a great situation because he's just got a fright from a horse. So I'm going to do a safety stop. And I'm good. And I stay here until he softens and gets his attention back on me. So he's seen a horse up on the hill. Good job. And again, attention back on me. So he just needs to flex. I want to hit the hair. Good man. So that's an example of before where he lost concentration, and then that puts me in an unsafe situation. So luckily he was nice and relaxed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can move him sideways. Good boy. I'm going to reward that because that was a lovely soften. I'm going to have my leg on this side, and I'm just going to quietly open my right rein. Good. And then whoa, I'm going to turn him, go back into a safety stop. So when I'm on their backs and they don't have much idea of stopping, 2 reins isn't the greatest. So I tend to just turn them and do a hindquarter yield. So now I'm going to put my leg on this side, way. Good, go back into a safety stop. Well done. And give him a rub up. Now while I'm on his back, I'm just going to quietly, now that I've got a chance with him standing still, just slide around. Make sure that they're used to you touching every part of their body. You want to have your leg on the moment you get on. You don't want to suddenly have it off here and then suddenly clamp on, because that's something that might give them a fright as well. So I'm touching them everywhere. I'm then going to have him turn back and look at my leg. Good job. You can see he's not worried. Good boy. And then I'm going to bring him back this way. Have a look at this leg. He's just a bit heavy. There we go. Good boy. Good, and now I feel like I'm at a stage where I can start asking him some big questions. So we're going to go left, so my right leg is on, my left leg remains open. Good job. And if he wants to, I'm going to see if I can get some forward momentum. So I turn him left slightly, I'll zigzag. Good, and now I'm just going to let him wander wherever he wants to wander. And then I'm just going to make sure I can stop. I'm going to go into a safety stop. Wait till he softens. Good job. He was really nice with that. I'm going to go left. Stop. Good. And now I'm going to see if I can go for a little bit of a wander around. Good. He can kind of, with reason, go where he wants right now because I just want forward momentum. And at any stage I feel like I'm in an unsafe situation, I'm just going to go into a safety stop. And when I'm in that safety stop and I've disconnected the hind end, then I can quietly slide off if I need to. Good boy. And even from the ride yesterday where I was on him bareback, you can see he's actually got the idea of going forward really nicely, whereas the other day he was quite zigzaggy. And as soon as he's gone forward, my leg softens on his side, my hands relax, and my energy lowers. So I can be a little bit bossy on my leg there because he's ignored me. And bigger, good job. And then I'll do a little safety stop there. Good. Good job. I want a little bit of a bigger walk forward. A little bit more attention on me. Good boy. Because at the moment he's very much got his attention on the horses up the hill. And safety stop. Good. Now what I'm going to do, because I feel like he's very ready for it, despite the fact I've not been on his back very long, is I'm going to get him used to, well, hopefully move into the beginning stages of the trot. So I'm going to start rising and get that begun before I go into the trot, because again, it's another thing that's a little bit different and I don't want to give them a fright on it. So usually when I go into a trot, I go into sitting trot anyway, but in case I do start to rise, I want to know that that's not a problem. Sometimes as you move up and down off the back, you can give them a fright and they can want to leap forward. So now, good job. I want a bigger walk. Just put the pressure. You can see I put a bit more pressure on the walk. He sped up the walk and gave me a really nice elevated bit of movement. And then I brought him back and I rewarded him before I did too much. So all he has to do here is come off the leg. Good job. So there he got a little bit overwhelmed. Good boy. Give him a little moment. Good boy. I don't feel like I need to stop, but I'll turn him. Good boy. And then come back this way. So there he sped up the walk. So I just have to sharpen him up a little bit. So I'm going to keep the leg on until, good job, until he's a little bit lighter off that aid. So come this way. And then just do a little safety stop. Good boy. And again, that was quite a big trot. Normally I just like them to hop up, good boy, and then come quickly back. But his body language was so relaxed about it, I could just let him move out. Trot on. Good job. I can stay really soft there because again his body language is really nice, but I am going to stop, do a safety stop there because he's just got a bit heavy on the halter. Good boy. Go again. Good job. Safe. Good boy. Sharpen him up a little bit because he's just a bit heavy. Good. And I'm going to come bring him back over here. Whoa. Good boy. And I'm going to finish them on that because that's a really big step within the first ride on the saddle. Give him such a big reward because he did such a good job. And I'm just super stoked with that because, again, this is not a difficult horse at all. He's never had a bad experience. So this is what a clean slate looks like. But to come out, first ride on the saddle, have a beautiful trot, and be super light off the aids. He stopped beautifully. He was a little preoccupied and sometimes a little bit dull off the aids because he doesn't quite understand them and because he just needs to be lightened up on them. But that's so cool. So I'm going to hop off him. Good boy. And when I give them the reward, I want them to make them I want it to be a really big deal. So I want them to crave doing the right thing, not because of the punishment they'll get if they do the wrong thing, but because I want them to feel like they're the best animal in the world, and when they do it right, I'm just like, yes, good job. And then next time they'll come back with the attitude of, oh, I want to do the right thing because I get all these nice scratches and hugs and kisses. And then I just think it gives them a really nice attitude, and they just enjoy their job so much more. Good man.